Hi, I'm Matthew Greger.
And I'm Nancy Greger.
We have this new podcast called We Should Probably Edit This.
But we won't.
Hey!
Hi, how are you? It's been a while.
I know, it's been a while. Too many things been going on.
I know.
We had a trip. You got sick. Had a trip to the emergency room. That was an adventure. But we're all good. So we should probably edit this.
But we won't.
Nope.
So what's our topic for today? So we thought we were going to try to do this last weekend, but obviously I wasn't feeling the greatest. So what we wanted to talk to you guys about is the event we went to. So if you know Brendan Bouchard, he is a great high performance coach. And he puts on, we're part of one of his mastermind groups called the Ultra. And when we started this adventure,
that's part of GrowthDay, right?
Part of GrowthDay, yes. Right. And when we started this adventure back in 2023, we were actually meeting in Los Angeles every first of the month. And we did that for quite some time. And it's all about personal growth and how you move forward in life and how you can learn different aspects. And each time we meet, we have a different topic. So our last topic, most recent topic, was on health
and wellness.
And health and wellness. Right. And so...
And where was that event?
In Napa. We were in Napa, California. Beautiful place. Did not dress appropriately. Wasn't aware that Northern California can be a little cooler than Central
in
LA,
Southern California.
In Southern California. So I was cold. Ended up having to go to Target to pick up a pair of leggies and some warm clothing because I got cold.
And then we bought some swag, some sweatshirts.
We did. We bought the sweatshirts because we were cold. But anyway, so this podcast is just kind of like a review of some of the things we walked away with from this event. So I'll kick it off.
Okay, you kick it off.
I'm going to kick it off. So the first thing that we talked about was the 4 E's, which was energize, engagement, excellence, and expanding. Now remember I said the topic was health and wellness. So the idea of energize, how do you get your body energized? What do you need to do in order to start with that process of...
Do you start to get energized in the morning? Is that what you do?
You do. You can. Everybody has a different routine, but his idea of the energize was an exercise.
Bring in the energy too,
Bringing in the energy.
So just even with this podcast, we have to bring the energy.
We have to bring the energy. We have to bring it pumped up so we're not falling behind. So we talked about different things, and then you kind of had to sit back and reflect, what is it that you need to do to get yourself energized in the day?
Yeah,
and get going.
One of my takeaways from that was life energy. It put it in you, so I need to put that energy inside of me in order for it to come out.
Correct. The second one was engagement. So again, what is it that we need to do to become engaged? So one of my things was reading books on biographies. I'm a big I'm a big documentary fan.
I just spent 4 hours with Billy Joel.
That was a really good documentary. I don't understand why it isn't, because it correlated to his music, his time. And by the way, I'm a late 70s, 80s kind of person. That's the time and era I grew up. So a lot of his music.
Yes, I know. I had several of his tapes before CDs, and I played them in my VW Bug.
Yeah, but it was a great. I will agree. Sometimes it was a little long-winded, but it was about his music and how his music correlated to his life.
Well, I mean, all of his music's just another way of telling stories.
Correct.
And something we learned in church today too. You know that even Jesus was great at telling stories to relate to the people, and Billy Joel, he sung stories through his music, and he was a great storyteller in music.
Yes.
And it's so important that we actually tell stories.
Tell a story, because that's how you can relate to people. So
Yeah.
in my engagement part of the 4 E's, I wrote down to read more books about interesting people, maybe getting some audiobooks, definitely documentaries, but I have to watch those when I'm by myself, because
No,
somebody
it's
here
okay.
just
I'm getting
does
better.
not.
I'm getting better with it. And documentaries, they do tell a story from someone else, and you can learn something from it.
Correct.
It's just that sometimes it's not my first form of entertainment. I'll have to say that.
What was your engagement ideas then?
Well, I mean, what I took away from the engagement really was to engage in uncomfortable situations, and to making eye contact is critical when you're engaging with them. Yeah. so engage in uncomfortable situations just basically means don't delay that moment that you need to have that conversation with somebody, or you need to engage with them to tell your point, especially if you're leading a team or you're working with others, and there may be a situation that you really would rather just ignore, like myself at times, because I don't really like those uncomfortable situations. So it really just taught me I need to engage in that so I can move forward. Otherwise, it's a blocker all the time that's in my head. I didn't take care of it. So engage in comfortable situations.
I like that. First of all, eye contact. I will 100% agree with you. I have a really, really big issue when I'm talking to somebody and they're not looking at me.
Mm-hmm.
I will go out of my way to make you look at me. Because to me, that means you're paying attention. That means
Right.
you're giving me your
Right.
time to really listen to what I have to say. And if you're not going to look at me when I talk,
Or you're going to look down here,
or you're going to look over there or back there,
It's
or whatever.
Hello, this
I'm
is
here.
me here.
I'm here.
Please engage with me.
So the other one was excellence, and excellence. The way that they had really kind of talked about it, and what I took away from it, is the practice of breathing and meditation. I found it very interesting when I went down this plight of really taking some time, maybe not so much about the breathing part of it, but the meditation part of it, in doing his release practice that he talks about, which is, you take 20 minutes out of your day,
And you just repeat, release.
Yeah, you just keep
release.
repeating that mantra, if you will, to kind of help you reset yourself. And so the excellence part of it is that every time we go into situations, and I like the fact that he says every time I walk into a new door, every time I go into a new door, I have to reset myself up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
here.
I'm not bringing the packages from before. I'm not bringing anything that's just occurred. I'm going into this situation ready. And so kind of preparing yourself for that sometime is doing some meditation. And I think I really want to help explore that a little bit more.
Yeah.
I know that when I was doing yoga many, 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 many years ago, that was part of the end of a yoga class, was that you just kind of laid there and really just focused on your breathing and your meditation and different parts of your body. It was a great end to a yoga class, and I really felt that was probably something I should kind of get back into.
Well, I think that it's all part of mind health, and you've got to let go and you got to release your mind. I mean, what I took away from the excellence part was, you need to hold your team to higher standards. It's really, excellence is about high integrity, and excellence standard, it's what you need to define what that means to you. I need to still define what that means to me. So I hold myself to that higher standard, that excellent standard of what it is for me. And through this whole, 2-day session, we really focused on real health and wellness equals high standards. It's what you do. It's not just about your taking care of your body, or your food, the food that you bring into it. It's also about your mind. It's also about your spirit, and even finances too. So just having a real excellent standard and high integrity.
High integrity. That's a good one. The last E was expanding.
Well, we've expanded through our years. Trying to bring that expansion back a little bit right now.
Bring it into focus a
Yes,
little bit.
yeah.
Okay. I looked at it as holding myself accountable.
Okay.
No one else can really. You got to hold yourself to your own accountability, and not give yourself grace for certain things, but hold yourself accountable. If you say you're going to do something, make sure you do it. It's something that you set, so it's something that should be achievable. And if it's not achievable, you got to figure out why. Why didn't you hold yourself accountable to that moment in time? I'll give you an example. Routine has been a very important and intricate part of this whole health and wellness adventure. And I can't say we've been at this for a while, so it's not like we just started. We've been at this for a while. But one of the things
it's hard to maintain it.
one of the things that and I'm getting to my point about a routine is that in the morning I kind of set a routine up for myself. I like to do 30 minutes of some type of exercise, whether it's weightlifting, stretching, a Roomba class,
Riding a bike with your
riding
husband.
a bike with my husband. But I'd like to at least give myself 30 minutes of that routine. And last week, it was really tough for me to keep to that routine because I wasn't feeling well. I had, and I'm still working through a cold, so I wasn't really at my 100%. So it was really hard for me to maintain that routine.
And how did you feel not being in that routine last week?
To some extent, I felt bad, but in the other part of it, my body needed time, and my body was saying, "Go to sleep," and so
Or sleep during that time. You should be getting up.
yeah. So rather than force myself to do something and push myself too hard, I needed rest because it was going to take me that much longer to get myself going.
I'll have to say that by you being in that mode, and that affects me too. I don't. It shouldn't, but it's just like we play off each other so much because of just how long we've been together. That when one of us, we either motivate each other or we bring each other.
We go down together. Yay!
Yes.
You want that cake?
Or-
Let's go get it.
Yeah. Or you don't want it. You want to sleep in? Okay, I'll sleep in too. Right. Because I know that even if I get going, you're not going to want to get going at that point in time. So I'm not bringing you up in that particular case.
But that wasn't because like I said, it wasn't because I didn't want to. It was more or less I wasn't feeling well. And by not feeling well, when your body is not at its optimal performance, you really need to listen to it. And that's one of the things that we did talk about at the event was listening to your body and your body patterns, because your body will tell you when you either need to push yourself a little harder or you need to pull yourself back a little bit. Your body will tell you that. So it's very important that you listen to it, not push yourself, because what's the point in that? You push yourself too hard and then you crash. So the objective is not to kind of crash. It's kind of like hold on and be steady. Have your peaks and maybe have a little bit, but not the dramatic, ups and downs. You really want to keep steady as much as you possibly can. So,
well, coming back into the word expand, which if you think about it, it's really about the expansion. It's about expanding. And to me, it was, expansiveness of self and spirit, just really growing into yourself. And expanding sense of self, as a coach, look for opening up or restriction. So, it's like when you're talking to somebody, if you see them restricting into that conversation versus expanding and opening up, it's that opportunity that you can have to talk about things, to talk about, feel comfortable with what you're doing, what you're in, or you're restricting yourself into it. So he talked about a number of different ways that we need to expand into things, expand into what we're doing, from our day-to-day life, expanding into that morning routine to get up and going. Let's go. Let's expand into it, and just really moving forward.
And doing that. The other topic that, so one of the other guest speakers that he had, and he had quite a few, but one of the guest speakers that he has that he's pretty much always has at our Ultra events is Ed Milet. Mm-hmm. And I'll be honest, when I first heard him speak back in 2023, I wasn't overly impressed. I felt that there was a little bit of some self-centering conversations that he was having, and
what changed?
I think I got to know him a little bit more, and I got to hear his sincerity. First of all, I'm not good with people who are a lot of the woe is me. And I'm not saying Ed was like that, but when I first met him and he talked about his childhood and he talked about his father being an alcoholic and a drug addict and how he had to gauge his father's temperament or whatever the case might be, I kind of like looked at that and said, okay, so what's your point? That your father wasn't the greatest? Or at some point in time he had changed his ways and then he suddenly redeemed himself. He came
over adversity. He came over. He was over.
Right.
He was able to overcome it.
Right, but in any case,
it also made Ed relate and understand others because he had to see how his father was going to be every time that he came in. So,
I'm like I said, you're asking me what my initial impression of the man was.
I know, and then I asked you what changed.
Not yours. So I just want to make kind of like, so anyway, so we've heard him speak several times. And each time he has talked, he gets warmer and warmer with me. In the beginning, I was like, okay. But definitely as time has gone by, the sincerity and what he has to talk about becomes more and more relatable. And one of the couple of things that he talked about was the moment you are in are the good old days.
Yeah.
And I love that statement because here and now, that's what's important. Not what's going to happen 5 years from now, and not what happened necessarily in the past.
We're the good old days when we say that word, right?
Yeah.
We think about
what happened.
Remember when things used to be so much better than they are now,
Right.
Or remember the good old days when
we got together.
So the concept was let's create the good old days now. And so really taking that moment and really just feeling today, feeling what it's like to be now.
And not compare it to what it was like.
No, but just to really record it. Really,
in there.
Just really record it through either journaling or taking those moments with
pictures,
with pictures.
Taking photographs, taking videos, being in that moment.
So 5 years from now, you can look back on this time and say, remember when, wasn't that a good old day?
Correct.
And then you can go back and open up that journal or take those photos, bring those up and say, yeah, I can really remember that because I felt something.
Because you felt it.
Right.
But I think so for me, that was a great takeaway. The other thing that I loved was, when I'm dead, will I care about this? And that to me is a very, very, probably a very truthful statement for many things. When I'm dead, will I care about this? And for us, going through things in your daily life, going through the obstacles, going through the challenges, going through whatever, whether it's with somebody else, whether it's about work, or whether it's about home, or whether it's about family or friends or whatever. When I'm dead, will I care about this?
Right.
And because of that statement, I kind of look at things kind of going into it. There have been some challenges in these last couple of years for me, both for family and for trying to figure out what my next phase of life is going to be and what's important. but when I'm dead, will this really matter? And that for me has been probably, I'm probably going to get it on a t-shirt just to remind myself of it and remind others about it too. Because it's the way we kind of look at things. And if you feel like there's a topic that's coming in that might be a heated topic, I think it's a great way to reset everybody's mind frames and said, hey, you know what? When you're dead, will this really matter?
Right, right.
And then that kind of will stop people's
Well, I mean that I think that also
vision.
goes in line with he said, find humor in life. So it's like when you ask that question, you can do it lightheartedly and find humor in it. So I think that's one of the sayings that really hit me well is find humor in life.
Find humor.
And then he also said, just try to find the good and expand into it. Using that expand word coming off from what Brendan talked about with the expanding. It's just trying to find the good and then expand into it.
Yeah. The last thing that I took away from him is, who do you want to honor? A lot of the times, the reason he said that is a lot of the things we take on, if it's something that we set for ourselves, we're wishy-washy. We give ourselves excuses for not doing it. We don't necessarily do it if it's something that we're trying to do for ourselves. However, if you ask yourself that question, or if you put, who is it that you want to honor by doing that? That person becomes the reason why you do it. Because we're not likely to do it for ourselves. Let's face it. If I had my choice, do I want to have a piece of chocolate cake or do I not want to have a piece of chocolate cake? I really have to sit back and not ask myself. It's more like, who do I want to honor? What is it that I'm trying to achieve? And if you are looking at the health and wellness part of it, if you're trying to lose weight or you're trying to get into a better fitness routine and you're really looking at it, maybe what you need to ask yourself is, who do you want to honor?
Who are you doing it for?
Who are you doing it for?
Right.
Who are you doing it for?
Is it for you, or I mean, like for us, I think
if it's for you, you're always gonna be battling with yourself, and you're gonna give yourself excuses.
But if I want to be in the best shape and the best health for you,
correct,
or for my grandkids, because I want to be able to keep up with them, that puts a different light in front of it. It's like I get away from focusing on you when you honor someone else, and then it's not about me.
Correct.
When you talk about it,
it's not about you. It's about why you're doing what you're doing. And I felt that was probably maybe one of the motivating factors we all need to do. When we're really trying to accomplish something big, when we want to be able to I don't know, like I said, we want to lose weight or become better physically fit or change a bad habit into something that's more productive and useful. Coming up with that reason or that person or that who could be the changing factor in it all. And that's how I looked at it. That's how I felt about it. I was like, yeah, you know what? You got to get out of your own head. Because if you're going to do it for yourself, you're going to give yourself enough excuses not to do it.
Yeah, and playing off of that, Brennan came back on and basically said, why am I doing this? Which I really liked to do is really try to answer that question. Why am I doing this? Mm-hmm. Did you fall into it or not? Was it something were you forced into it? But really ask that question. Why am I doing this? And then when you figure that out, design it. That was another big one that came to me, is design it. But I think my favorite speaker of the event this particular time was Irwin.
Yeah.
When he talked about faith and what was the other two?
He talked about faith. He talked about love, and he talked about hope.
Yes, faith, hope, and love. Yeah. And that really was big, and my aha moments from some of those were, faith equals courage, and it transfers trust. when you have faith in yourself, you actually trust yourself. And I think that's really important because a lot of us don't trust our own selves, you know. And what I really came away from that was overthinking is absence of faith, you know. And for a long time, I've been an overthinker. I overthink everything.
Really? No kidding.
Yeah, I know. And I think and it really brought this, Erwin really brought this home for me. It's just that I didn't trust myself. I didn't have faith in myself that I actually had the right answer. I always had to figure out and have it confirmed by something else, either by Googling it or searching it or asking you or asking someone else, what do you think? You know, instead of having enough faith in myself and trust in myself that, yeah, that is what I need to do. Let's take the action and do it. So overthinking, that was a real big one for me. And then just, you know, hope is essential. And I put this in one of my actions is, you know, I really want to help people discover hope, because it's not just about discovering brilliance and about your finding your potential, but having the hope that you can actually do something. You know, hope is future thinking. Despair is thinking in the past. It's that rear view mirror that we have. So, you know, you can face the past, but then hope for the future, imagine for the future. Hope in who you become.
So interesting. Faith for me wasn't necessarily how about faith in yourself and belief in yourself. Faith for me came across in that if you have really truly faith in God, it'll all work itself out. And for some reason, I don't know whether it's that 12 years of Catholic education and parochial school and going to church when you were younger and listening to all this, but especially being married to this man, I have never faltered in knowing that while there might be really difficult times, I felt very much at ease knowing we'll conquer it through and we'll make it through. I don't think I've ever felt despair. I think there are moments in time where you're really stressed and you have to have faith in yourself that things are going to work out 100%. But I also believed that I believe in God. And so because I believe in God, I believe that it'll work itself out. Whether that meant I had to go out and get a side job to help oversee some expenses at home, whether that meant I had to buckle up and do what I needed to do to execute a theory, whether that was I ran on little or no sleep, or I pushed myself to get something done. I dealt with children who were sick when I wasn't feeling the greatest. I pushed through. I had faith that I could do it. I had faith that it would work itself out. But sometimes faith is in not only in yourself, but knowing that you can do it. And it's funny that you didn't have any faith in yourself. When I sat back and said, "Oh no, it'll work itself. It'll happen."
I mean, you have a strong faith. You know, it's not that I didn't have faith in that. I just didn't have faith in my own abilities at times. I mean, I think.
But that to me is ironic, because I looked at those abilities and said, "Oh no, he's really good at that. He'll figure it out." I never felt
I was
that way.
confident that I could figure things out, but I guess what I did is the overthinking part just made it.
I will agree. You overthink. I'm not going to lie. You do overthink,
Right.
but there is something about that process that you do that helps you get to where you need to be and have faith in what
helps
you're
me
doing.
come up with the answer.
Yeah.
You know, it takes me a little bit longer at times, but
Sometimes.
I mean, you know, a healthy faith makes you more human. And on that note about God and stuff, I really loved how he framed this up. You know, you're going to do it because you believe.
Correct.
Not because God is going to do it for you.
No.
So it's that faith in
Yourself
too. But you know, God puts these things in front of us, and He opens these doors. But we have to believe that we can do it and move forward.
You got to walk through the door.
Right.
You got to walk through the door. And I've said this many times to my children, especially when one door closes, another one will open. The question is, are you going to walk through that door? Or are you going to keep pounding that door that just closed and hope that it opens up again?
And when the other one just opened right
When the
behind
other one
you,
just opened
or
up.
next to it.
Don't focus on that door.
Right.
Move on.
Well, on wrapping this episode up.
There's one thing I want to wrap this stuff up with.
Okay, and then I have one too. So.
Okay. So you're going to find this funny. So we were at dinner with a group of us. And I was sitting at one end of the table. Matthew was sitting at the other end of the table. And one of our friends, Dean Jacobs, was talking about a situation in his personal life. And we're eating dinner, and I'm listening, and he's eating dinner, and he came out and he said, "Not my monkey, not my circus." And I just stopped what I was doing and turned over to him. And meanwhile, I'm sitting next to two people also from the side note. Dean is from Nebraska. So there's that Midwest
Omaha
yeah, type
area,
of deal. And not my monkey, not my circus.
But he also does tours and traveling into the Amazon.
But what I'm saying is that
with the monkeys.
this is a saying. We all have our sayings, right? But I had never heard of not my monkey, not my circus. And I absolutely fell out laughing. I made him explain what that meant because I had never heard that saying before. And he just looked at me. He says, "How could you have not heard it?" I said, "I've never heard that saying." Now, I'm an East Coast girl, true downhearted New Yorker. So for somebody to come up to me and say, "Not my monkey, not my circus," I got to tell you, I fell out laughing. And basically what "not my monkey, not my circus" meant was, how he described it to me, was people have certain situations and they respond in a certain way. You may not see that you may not see their point of view or how they want to handle a situation is not how you would handle it. And so that's basically what it means, is that's your monkey. That's your circus. It's not his. Dean, I love that. It sticks with me every single day. I remind myself that saying all the time. Not my monkey.
That's
not my circus.
That's like the one that where Barbara told me was other people's crazy is not your crazy.
Correct.
But I want to just end it on this that good people must step up and do something. I think that's something that I really took away from, and then really get into conviction mode. Get into conviction mode about what you can do and what you're all about. And on that note, we should probably edit this.
But we won't.
Until next time.
Have a great week.
See
Bye.
you guys. Bye.